Hi, welcome to another video and episode of my robotic arm and pneumatic hand with compressor, controller, back gear for the vertical movement and the pivot gear for the rotation. Last time I replaced the pivot switch. Two switches became one. Some rewiring, some reconstruction, and the only thing that actually still has to happen is the stabilization of the pivot motor, because so far with one movement of the arm, the motor is being pushed away by the gears. So what I intend to do is put this on this side of the motor, while it already is on the other side, and then it should prevent the motor from shifting away. So let's get this, and then like this. This should be alright. It also means that if something goes wrong, I will have to try to get things out of the way, but we'll see about that. And for now, let's see if everything just works as intended. So let's start the program. And so far this movement seems to work, and also this newly placed block seems to work and hold, although you can clearly see that the forces on the motor are actually very strong. So, although it all works, it is not a given that this eventually will hold. Also, this gearbox I constructed is also subject to large forces, so it remains to be seen how long that holds. But so far it looks like okay. Then in total, let me activate the compressor by pressing one of the fingers, and I'll have to flow along. Yes, so that is working. Now it would be very nice if the finger is actually activated by the pneumatics. And I heard some noise from here, so it is a doubtful case that it actually keeps working. But so far it is. That in one finger. Let me try another one. Yes, and another one. Yes. And the gearbox is kind of slipping. So it has problems. But right now there is no other option to fix it. So the arm will get more and more in that direction because of the slipping of the gearbox. So maybe I'll have to fix that, but if I look closely, it still makes its way. So I think that part is correct, working. Let me stop it and on to another part of new addition. So with the pivot setup working, it's time for another addition, and that has everything to do with the hand. When you have a healthy arm, you have an elbow like this one, you have a hand with fingers, and you have a flexible wrist. Well, my current wrist is of course not really flexible, so my objective, in addition to everything that is right now, is to reconstruct it into a moving wrist. And how can I do that? By adding a gear, something like this. And the big question is, how can I accomplish this? Because the motor has to be attached somewhere, and the most likely way to attach the motor is to the bottom of the hand plate. Regarding its connections right here. Then the gear. One would think that the pneumatics and the electrics go right through it, which might be the case, but then how to connect it? So the idea is for now to have this connected and make the arm, make the hand connected to here, and then turn around with the pneumatics and the electricity around it. To accomplish that, I'll of course have to change this construction, which is a challenge in itself. And to accomplish that, I first have to make sure that all the pneumatics and electricity are safe, because if I remove all this now, it drops down. It's quite heavy, which is exactly the reason of the extended arm. So how I am going to do it, we'll see. And it will be a nice experiment, just as nice as the experiments have been with everything else so far. So let's see how this works out, if it works out. The solution I have in mind is, in best case, to use the same pivot disc as I'm using here for the base of the arm, which has possibility to put it straight on the same elements as I use for the arm. However, I don't have that yet. So I'm going to improvise, and for that I have some parts that I can put together. This one I've shown already, but this one can't be put on those elements. They don't have a notch like this. So I'm using this. I can put this together. Then the holes which are in it are overlapping. So with these pins I can block them. And next thing to do is get these in there somehow. Will this hold? I have no idea, but it is anyway a start. To get things going, and together with this motor, which I can put here somehow, mounted on the underplate, and then I already see that these blocks won't work. So I need bigger blocks, or I can add this to it, although the risk is that this will go shift. So let me take these bigger blocks. One and two, and then you can see if it works. So either this is stable and the motor pulls the whole arm around, or the whole wrist and hand around, or this is solid and this turns the whole thing around. Either way, with this combination the wrist gets a lot thicker and wider, and that will have the consequence that I'll have to pull through the pneumatic tubes, and they have some length here, so that won't be much of a problem, but still I have to modify the whole wrist. in order to get it either this way or that way. And which way? That is a good question. Because if I look here, it is the same distance. So I would have to connect, oops. So I would have to connect these on both sides and then see whatever comes of it. But we'll see how that ends up. When thinking about it further, it is best to use this improvisation from the arm side, so that the motor can be attached here, but it has to turn around an axis as well, because you can run this around, but apart from the movement that you get with the motor, you need an axis. And there you have a little problem, because these both have mounting places for this one, and I need only one to do it. So which one is it going to be? I think it is the red one going to be. So I remove this. Take these apart. And then put this metal axis through. Enough length. And then push this through again. And then finding that this does not work, because these wings have to fall exactly in here. So that needs some adjustment. So let's see how we can get that fixed. First, probably getting this in, then putting this inside, and that is going to be a big problem to actually turn and fix it, because that is what it is for. But I know that the wings have to be ending like this, so let's see and try if that works out with the axis, of course. And that barely works out. That is the most point that I have, and now it fits. So now I have this axis that can be put somehow there. So let's see how I can get the motor working, because that is another point. This motor should have its own connection at the interface, and it has to be led through the arm, through the arm, through the base, and then to the interface. And here are still two motor connections left, so that is going to be a challenge as well. I have the wires, I just have to keep in mind that this is going to pivot around the wrist, so I need enough wire length. So when it comes to mounting this motor onto the plate, it is not such a problem. I'm using these elements, these parts, and then put it in close enough and shift it in. So that is one thing. However, the point is, how strong is it actually? Because the hand alone is having quite a weight, and this pivot motor is being used now because of its physical properties, having a torque with a ratio of let me read it, 125 to 1, or more accurately 1 to 125, which gives it a strong torque and slow turning ratio, or slow turning, in order to get the arm moving, which has quite a weight. And if you have seen my earlier videos a while back on this same pivot motor, then you know that I have used a small motor like I'm trying to use now for the hand, and it turned out to be not really suitable for it, because it turned really hot, and this pivot motor doesn't. It is well equipped for its task. So while this motor is, as you can see, easily attached to the hand and is nicely capable to turn around here in whatever way, the question is, will this work? I think, because the hand is a much lower weight than the whole arm, it will manage. But apart from that, this is of course just an improvisation, and the pivot plate, such as it's used now for the arm, is much better, so I'll have to get one of that. And I think then the real reconstruction can start. So I'll leave that whole reconstruction for now, for another time, next time maybe. Thank you for watching. I'll let the new improved pivot run for now. If you like my videos and haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do so. Also watch my Instagram and follow Twitter, then you get messages whenever I post a video, which happens regularly. And if you like my videos, please consider to allow advertisements to run between the video segments, or support me in another way, which you can find on my website. So, and as you can see, the pivot motor is having a little bit of a problem with the gears, but in itself it holds. So for now it works.